Hiring for your small business? If you're not looking for professionals on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. That's like looking for your car keys in a fish tank. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit other leading job sites. So start looking in the right place. With LinkedIn, you can hire professionals like a professional. Post your free job on linkedin.com/spoken today.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Since 2013, Bombas has donated over 100 million socks, underwear, and T-shirts to those facing homelessness. If we counted those on air, this ad would last over 1,157 days. But if we counted the time it takes to make a donation possible, it would take just a few clicks. Because every time you make a purchase, Bombas donates an item to someone who needs it.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Battlefield, part of Waterloo Remembered. This extract comes from an anonymous French source and relates the French perspective of the battles of Ligny and Quatre Bras. Although anonymous, it is dated Paris, 21st of June, 1815, and the source itself comes from a detailed account of the battles of Quatre Bras, Ligny and Waterloo, preceded by a short relation of events attending the temporary revolution of 1815 in France. The book was published in Edinburgh in 1816 and was by Nicholson Bain. The account begins. On the morning of the 16th, the army occupied the following position. The left wing, commanded by the Marshal Duke of Elchingen, and consisting of the 1st and 2nd Corps of Infantry and the 2nd of Cavalry, occupied the positions of Frasnay. The right wing, commanded by Marshal Grouchy, composed of the 3rd and 4th Corps of Infantry and 3rd Corps of Cavalry, occupied the heights in the rear of Fleurus. The Emperor's headquarters were at Charleroi, where were the Imperial Guard and the 6th Corps. The left wing had orders to march upon Quatre Bras and the right upon Saint-Bref. The Emperor advanced to Fleurus with his reserve. The columns of Marshal Grouchy, being in march, perceived, after having passed Fleurus, the enemy's army, commanded by Field Marshal Blucher, occupying with its left the heights of the mill of Bussy, the village of Saint-Bref, and extending its cavalry a great way forward on the road to Namur. Its right was at Saint-Armand, and occupied that large village in great force, having before it a ravine which formed its position. The Emperor reconnoitred the strength and the positions of the enemy and resolved to attack immediately. It became necessary to change front, the right in advance and pivoting upon Fleurus. General Vandamme marched upon Saint-Armand, General Girard upon Ligny, and Marshal Grouchy upon Saint-Bref. The 4th Division of the 2nd Corps, commanded by General Girard, marched in reserve behind the corps of General Vandamme. The guard was drawn up on the heights of Fleurus, as well as the cuirassiers of General Milhaud. At 3 in the afternoon, these dispositions were finished. The division of General Lefol, forming part of the corps of Vandamme, was first engaged and made itself master of Saint-Armand, whence it drove out the enemy at the point of the bayonet. It kept its ground during the whole of the engagement at the burial ground and steeple of Saint-Armand, but that village, which is very extensive, was the theatre of various combats during the evening. The whole corps of General Vandamme was there engaged, and the enemy there fought in considerable force. General Girard, placed as a reserve to the corps of General Vandamme, turned the village by its right, and fought there with his accustomed valour. The respective forces were supported on both sides by about 50 pieces of cannon each. On the right, General Girard came into action with the 4th Corps at the village of Ligny, which was taken and retaken several times. Marshal Grouchy, on the extreme right, and General Pajol fought at the village of Saint-Bref. The enemy showed from 80 to 90,000 men and a great number of cannons. At 7 o'clock we were masters of all of the villages situate on the bank of the ravine, which covered the enemy's position, but he still occupied, with all his masses, the heights of the mill of Bussy. The Emperor returned with his guard to the village of Ligny. General Girard directed General Peuchot to debouche with what remained of the reserve, almost all of the troops having been engaged in that village. 8 battalions of the Guard debouched with fixed bayonets, and behind them 4 squadrons of the Guard, the Cuirassiers of General Durlot, those of General Milhaud, and the Grenadiers of the Horse Guards. The Old Guard attacked with the bayonet the enemy's columns, which were on the heights of Bussy, and in an instant covered the field of battle with dead. The squadron of the Guard attacked and broke a square, and the Cuirassiers repulsed the enemy in all directions. At 9:30 o'clock we had 40 pieces of cannon, several carriages, colours, and prisoners, and the enemy sought safety in a precipitate retreat. At 10 o'clock the battle was finished, and we found ourselves masters of the field of battle. General Lutzow, a partisan, was taken prisoner. The prisoners assure us that Field Marshal Blücher was wounded. The flower of the Prussian army was destroyed in this battle. Its loss could not be less than 15,000 men. Ours was 3,000 killed and wounded. On the left, Marshal Ney had marched on Quatre Bras with a division, which cut in pieces an English corps which was stationed there, but being attacked by the Prince of Orange with 25,000 men, partly English, partly Hanoverians, in the pay of England, he retired upon his position at Frasnay. There a multiplicity of combats took place. The enemy obstinately endeavoured to force it, but in vain. The Duke of Elchingen waited for the First Corps, which did not arrive till night. He confined himself to maintaining his position. In a square attacked by the 8th Regiment of Cuirassiers, the colours of the 69th Regiment of English Infantry fell into our hands. The Duke of Brunswick was killed. The Prince of Orange was wounded. We are assured that the enemy had many personages and generals of note killed or wounded. We estimate the loss of the English at from 4,000 to 5,000 men. On our side it was very considerable. It amounts to 4,200 killed or wounded. The combat ended with the approach of night. Lord Wellington then evacuated Quatre Bras and proceeded to Genappe. In the morning of the 17th, the Emperor repaired to Quatre Bras, whence he marched to attack the English army. He drove it to the entrance of the forest of Soignies with the left wing and the reserve. The right wing advanced by Saint-Bref in pursuit of Field Marshal Blücher, which was going towards Wavre, where he appeared to wish to take a position. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the English army occupied Mont Saint-Jean with its centre, and was in position before the forest of Soignies. It would have required 3 hours to attack. We were therefore obliged to postpone till the next day. The headquarters of the Emperor were established at a farm of Olaine, near Planchenoit. The rain fell in torrents. Thus the 16th, the left wing, the right, and the reserve were equally engaged at a distance of about 2 leagues. That was an anonymous French account of the battles of Quatre Bras and Ligny, taken from Nicholas Bain's 1816 book, a detailed account of the battles of Quatre Bras, Ligny, and Waterloo. Stay tuned to the Napoleonicist, where more instalments of the Voices from the Battlefield series will be released throughout the day.
Even on a budget, quality is non-negotiable. That's why Quince is the place to score high-end essentials at 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Get your hands on buttery soft cashmere sweaters from just $60, Italian leather jackets, and so much more. And the best part about Quince, they exclusively partner with factories committed to safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Elevate your style without the elevated price tag with Quince. Go to quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns.